Friends, the movie begins by showing a boy named Hallam. He was always quiet and emotionally distant because a few years earlier, his mother had died. Only a short time after her death, his father Julius married a woman named Verity as his second wife. But Hallam believed that his stepmother was responsible for his mother's death and that his father was involved too. The reason was that Verity had originally been his father's secretary, and after Hallam's mother died, Julius ended up marrying her. Hallam never had a good relationship with his father, and he didn't want to live with him or his stepmother, so he built a treehouse in the forest beside their home and started living there instead. He also developed a habit of secretly watching people who came into the woods through a pair of binoculars. He would write everything he observed in his diary, along with his personal thoughts and feelings. One day, Hallam's stepmother found and read his diary. Inside, he had written about the people he secretly watched, and he had even written admiring things about her. After reading it, Verity went to the treehouse and began seducing him. Hallam couldn't resist, and the two became emotionally close. Later, Verity blackmailed Hallam and forced him to move to another city. She wanted to make sure he could never create problems between her and his father. So Hallam left alone for a completely unfamiliar city, but he had no place to stay and no money with him. That night, with nowhere else to go, he climbed onto the roof of a small building and spent the night there. The next morning, Hallam noticed a woman on the street named Kate. She looked strikingly similar to his mother, and the moment he saw her, he couldn't stop thinking, "She looks just like my mom." Hallam began following Kate and eventually saw her enter a hotel. He followed her inside and discovered that she was the manager there. He approached her and asked if there were any job openings available. After asking him a few questions, Kate hired him to work in the hotel kitchen. Hallam desperately needed a job, so he accepted it and started working sincerely. He actually began to enjoy the work as well. But after work every day, he secretly followed Kate and kept track of everything she did, where she went, what she did, and even where she lived. Hallam did all this because he had started developing feelings for her. One day, when Kate left without going to work, Hallam sneaked into her apartment. Looking out the window, he noticed a clock tower nearby. Since the hotel where he worked was right below that tower, he realized it would give him a perfect view of Kate's apartment, allowing him to secretly watch her from there. Suddenly, Kate returned home, forcing Hallam to escape through the window onto the rooftop. From there, he continued secretly watching her through the glass panels above the roof. At first, Hallam stayed in a tiny hotel room, but the next day he moved into a small abandoned room inside the clock tower where no one ever came. From there, he could easily spy on Kate using his binoculars. Every single day, he watched her, whether she was dancing, working, or simply living her daily life. One night, while spying on her from the clock tower, Hallam saw one of the hotel's senior employees enter Kate's room, and the two began spending intimate time together. The next day, as Hallam was climbing the stairs to the clock tower, that same senior employee stopped him and told him he wasn't allowed upstairs because only senior staff members had access there. Later, while Hallam was working in the kitchen, Kate approached him and asked how he liked the job. Hallam replied that he was really enjoying his work, which made Kate happy to hear. That night, Hallam once again went up to the rooftop to watch Kate. Looking through the glass, he saw that the same senior employee was with her again. Hallam quietly continued watching them from hiding. And after overhearing their conversation, Hallam realizes that the senior employee is actually married and even has 2 children. Yet despite that, he is still having an affair with Kate. Learning this deeply upsets Hallam. He returns to the clock tower, the place where he secretly stayed hidden. Seeing Kate with the senior employee reminds him of his own mother. He starts thinking that maybe his father and stepmother had also been having an affair long before his mother died. And perhaps when his mother discovered the truth, she went to confront his stepmother. And that might have been the moment his stepmother killed her so she could stay with Hallam's father. Hallam becomes convinced that his father and stepmother were both responsible for his mother's death. Because of this, he goes to the police station and files a case against his stepmother, accusing her of murdering his mother. He also tells the officer that his father is supporting her side. The next day, Kate calls Hallam into her office and offers him a job at the hotel's front desk. Hallam agrees and starts working there. Very quickly, he begins enjoying this new position as well, and he even makes a friend among the hotel staff. One day, while Hallam is secretly watching Kate from the clock tower, the senior employee catches him in the act. He immediately realizes that Hallam has been spying on Kate from up there. Furious, the senior employee threatens Hallam, saying he will report him to the police and get him fired from the hotel. But Hallam responds by saying that he already knows everything, including the fact that the senior employee is cheating on his wife by secretly being involved with Kate. Hallam tries to blackmail him with this information. In the end, the senior employee decides not to fire him, and the two come to an agreement to keep each other's secrets hidden. The following day, while Hallam is working, Kate approaches him and wishes him a happy birthday because it is his 19th birthday. Hallam's co-worker friend also learns about it and asks him to throw a party. Kate agrees that they should celebrate Hallam's birthday, so they all make plans to go to a bar that night. That evening, Hallam, his co-worker friend, and Kate go out together. They all start drinking, but Hallam's friend drinks too much and eventually leaves to go home. After that, Hallam and Kate continue drinking and talking together for hours. It becomes very late, so Kate brings Hallam back to her apartment. She is heavily drunk and gradually starts getting emotionally closer to him while they talk. However, Hallam is completely unprepared for the situation. Eventually, the two simply fall asleep beside each other without anything happening. As Hallam lies next to Kate, he keeps thinking about how he had spent so long secretly watching this woman, and now he is actually sleeping beside her. The thought makes him incredibly happy. The next morning, when Hallam arrives at work, he immediately goes to Kate and asks her out on a date. Kate refuses. She tells him to forget whatever happened the previous night because she'd been drunk. Hearing this leaves Hallam heartbroken, and he quietly walks away. A few days later, Hallam is called to one of the hotel rooms. When he enters, he sees Kate waiting there. Kate slowly approaches him, and the two grow emotionally close. From that point on, Kate also begins developing feelings for Hallam. Kate was happy being with Hallam as well. One day, when Hallam climbed onto the rooftop outside Kate's apartment to secretly watch her again, he saw the senior employee arguing with her. During the fight, the man suddenly lost his temper and physically lashed out at Kate. Seeing this made Hallam furious. Wanting to protect her, he pushed aside the glass panel and jumped inside the apartment to stop the senior employee. But the man turned aggressive toward Hallam too. In anger, he exposed Hallam's secret to Kate, telling her that Hallam had been spying on her every single day from the clock tower. Hearing this shocked Kate. First, she told the senior employee to leave immediately. Then, she turned to Hallam and asked him directly if it was true that he had been secretly watching her and how long it had been going on. Hallam admitted that he had been watching her ever since the first day he saw her, but he insisted there was a deeper reason behind it. However, Kate was too angry to listen to any explanation. She ordered him to leave and fired him from the hotel. The next day, while returning home from work, Kate saw Hallam sitting alone outside the hotel. Seeing him in such a miserable state made her feel sorry for him, so she brought him back to her apartment. Later, Kate finally asked him why he had been spying on her. In response, Hallam opened up about his past. He explained that his mother had died 2 years earlier, and her death had completely broken him because he had loved her deeply. He admitted that he was never able to move on from that pain. Hallam told her that after his mother's death, his father remarried, but he hated his stepmother. Because of that, he stopped living at home and built a treehouse in the forest where he stayed by himself. From there, he began secretly observing people through binoculars, and over time, it turned into a habit. Then, Hallam confessed that when he arrived in the city and saw Kate for the first time, everything changed. He told her that Kate looked exactly like his mother, and every time he looked at her, he was reminded of the mother he had lost. "That's why I kept watching you," Hallam tells Kate. Hearing the truth makes Kate feel deeply emotional and sorry for him. After that, Kate puts on one of Hallam's mother's dresses, the same dress Hallam had carried with him all this time. When Hallam sees Kate wearing his mother's dress, memories of his mother come flooding back, and he breaks down in tears. Kate gently tries to comfort and calm him. The next day, when Hallam returns to the hotel for work, he learns that his guardians have come to meet him. His stepmother had managed to get his address from the police after Hallam filed a case against her. However, because there was no evidence, the police could not take any action against her. During the meeting, Hallam's father explains that he has fallen into heavy debt and wants to sell some land in order to repay it. For that, he needs Hallam's signature on some legal documents because the property had been transferred into Hallam's name by his mother before she died. But Hallam immediately suspects that his stepmother is secretly behind all of this, so he refuses to sign the papers. His stepmother becomes furious and starts scolding him. Eventually, they leave. That night, Hallam keeps thinking about something his stepmother once told him, that his mother's death had simply been an accident and that he should forget about it. Remembering those words fills Hallam with anger. The next day, he takes a train back to his hometown. Carrying years of pain and rage inside him, he quietly enters the house. Then, he confronts his stepmother, ties up her hands and feet, and takes her to a nearby lake. In a moment of blind fury, he throws her into the water. As she begins drowning, Hallam suddenly realizes he is making a terrible mistake. Horrified by his own actions, he quickly pulls her back out of the lake and apologizes to her. His stepmother then leaves the area. Afterward, Hallam's father finally tells him the truth. He explains that Hallam's mother had been suffering from severe depression for a long time, and that she had taken her own life herself. At that moment, Hallam realizes that he had misunderstood everything and made a terrible decision driven by anger and grief. Filled with regret, he apologizes to his father for everything. Later, Hallam boards a train once again and returns to Kate. But this time, Kate refuses to see him. She tells him that none of her past relationships ever worked out well, and because of that, She no longer wants to be involved in any relationship. Kate also tells Hallam that he is still too young. She gives him one final condition. If he truly wants a future with her, then he should come back after a few years. After hearing this, Hallam quietly walks away. As he walks down the street with a faint smile on his face, he keeps thinking that one day he will definitely meet Kate again. And with that, the movie comes to an end.